Well, good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us tonight and welcome to the 2025 Michigan Climate Champion Awards Show. For those of you that may not know me, my name is Denise Keel, and I have the privilege of serving as the Executive Director of the Michigan Climate Action Network. What an amazing spotlight that was of tremendous climate action that you are all leading across this state. And what I notice in those pictures when we nurture our creative side are all the smiles. It's making me even smile bigger than usual, seeing all of those fun pictures with the origami fish. How can you not smile when we're singing, even doing some of the hardest work possible out there? Thank you for all of those amazing contributions. And what a beautiful day it was today in Michigan. I didn't get to go in person, but I saw the sun shining on our Capitol as so many of you were there today to make your voices heard at the data center rally today in Lansing. Do a shout out in the chat if you made it to Lansing and you got a little preview of some of our artists and winners tonight if you were there. And you may have even heard a data center song that we're going to get to hear again later. It was a true power to the people. Thank you so much. Go ahead, next slide, Serena. Days like today are really the heart of the mission of MyCan. We are the first and the largest climate organization in the state. We founded the annual Climate Summit and these awards. Our mission is to amplify, connect, and support the people, organizations, and communities that are out there demanding the urgent and bold and equitable solutions that we need. This network has more than doubled in just the last couple of years, and we are so grateful to every group and individual who finds a role with us. It's our job to support you and connect you to the tools and other groups that will invoke that action. And our vision, next slide. Our vision for that work is really to meet or exceed those fast approaching 2030 target emissions. Folks, that's just 5 years away now that we're supposed to reduce our emissions by half. We have to also do that while not letting your zip code predict your climate health outcomes. We center justice in this movement. And to also use the power of culture, like you just saw and we'll hear more about tonight, to make climate action simply the right thing to do and to do it joyfully. It's our privilege to serve as the megaphone, convene climate leaders, and realize our collective impact. And our work is performed by the most amazing staff. I want to take just a little opportunity to thank them for their work this year. As the network grows, our staff has also grown to meet the moment. And this is part of our growth is a new communications director, an operations manager, and also adding our program leads for education. And as you are going to hear a little bit more from, our art and music offerings. This team is ready to close the year strong, and I cannot wait to unleash their talents to support all of you in 2026. We have a wonderful foundation that helps us put these awards on, and we cannot do this work without support. As you all know, we are up against some of the most powerful corporations in the history of the world. And unlike our opposition, we are not funded by special interests. Instead, we rely on the generosity of supporters like the Colina Foundation. They make these annual Climate Champion Awards possible. We're so grateful to their funding that allows us to in turn give a little financial support to the winners tonight. Their mission, as you can read, is dedicated to helping improve the lives of children, and we just love the synergy in the rest of our missions. There's beauty in every person. It's just like finding your right place in this movement. Education, learning, evidence-based. And wow, that last one, when we went to choose the theme of the awards this year, that art and beauty provide a feast for the soul and should therefore be encouraged. That's what we're out here doing tonight. Each year since 2021, we have given 3 awards, one for a professional, one for a volunteer, and one for a youth climate leader. Esteemed winners of the past include Attorney General Dana Nessel, who was out there rallying against data centers today, and that's why she was the climate champion in 2023. The great Teresa Landrum on our equity mission, 42817. Andrea Pierce, leading Anishinaabe Indigenous cultures. Yours truly was an honoree. And now another trio of incredible activists that you're going to get to hear from tonight. To narrow down the choices for climate champions from our large and powerful network each year, for the last couple of years, what we've done is try to choose a theme so that we can narrow that down and find a really, really nice program. This year, again, let's just name it. It's been an incredibly difficult year. And we wanted to take a moment to honor those who help us remember our shared humanity. Because the climate crisis demands not only policy change, but a profound cultural transformation. So this year, we're recognizing all of those who use art, music, poetry, and other cultural works as essential tools for inspiring, connecting, and mobilizing people around that shared vision of a just and resilient future. We're honoring people whose contributions embody the role of creative expression for climate action by demonstrating how those artistic works help us break down barriers, foster empathy, and build powerful momentum for change. And now I want to introduce you, if you don't already know her, to we are so lucky to have you. You're in for a real treat tonight, folks. And it's my pleasure. I'm going to turn things over here to our MC for the evening, our very own art and music coordinator, Samantha Cooper. Many of you already know Sam as a musician, with her voice and violin appearing on over 75 albums. Or you may have enjoyed yourself at a water weekend camp that she co-coordinates as part of the Water is Life Festival, Pipe Out, Paddle Up, and all of her work with Great Lakes Water Protector Network and the Great Lakes Creative. Since joining the MyCan team, Sam, you have infused creativity into everything we do. It just drips out of her fingertips, folks. There's just no way to stop it. Indeed, this week I witnessed her write 2 new songs. One to support our Community Solar Lobby Day, and another one on data centers for the protest today that advocates got to sing together in the rotunda of the Capitol. I think we're going to get to hear that song in just a minute. And Samantha, just so you know, you have been nominated for this award and you'd be winning one tonight. We thought it was a little conflict of interest as an employee to give you an award. So don't worry, on behalf of our team, we just want to recognize you as our own internal champion for creative expression. And thanks to Colina, we're going to give you a little extra something there to close out this year. Because again, you should be winning this award if you weren't already working with us. Sam has some songs for us today, and she's going to be your MC for the rest of tonight. Take it away, Sam.
Hey, everybody. I know some of you were at the Capitol today. Oh my gosh, what a historic moment we all had at the Capitol today. Thanks so much to Seth and all of the grassroots organizers that made that statewide rally against the fast-tracked data center attempted takeover of Michigan. As Seth said, it's been a dream, right? To see such a broad coalition of people that are so focused, right, on what we agree on, which is that we want more time, right, and no secret deals and no NDAs around all of these proposed data centers in Michigan, so that we all have more time to figure out what the impact's going to be and if we want them. So, as Denise said, it's been such a joy being with MyCan this year and just fitting right into the whole crew of amazing folks over at MyCan. If you guys don't know them all yet, I'm excited for you to know them better this coming year. So last week at Community Solar Day in Lansing, I started writing this data center song, and Charlie Millard helped me to co-write it, and we got to play it at the Capitol today thanks to Seth. So I'll play that for you guys right now. Can you hear this guitar? All right, cool. Here it is. You know, it's still happening and being written. I'm going to read from the notes here, and if anybody's like, oh my God, this is so good, except for that one line, she needs to do this, I am accepting feedback. on this evolving piece. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want these data centers harming our freshwater seas. We don't want these data centers near our friends and families. We don't want these data centers in anyone's community. We don't want these data centers across the aisle. We're all saying please. 'Cause you don't want this mass resistance from all sides. The tax breaks aren't worth it. You don't want this fierce persistence from all sides. Please don't sell us out, sis. Our water is not your coolant, and our state's not your radiator. We don't want these data centers harming our freshwater seas. Hiking bills, hijacking land, a moratorium is what we need. We don't want these data centers, no secret deals or NDAs. We don't want these data centers. If you get bought, then we'll all pay. Oh my gosh, I almost lost it when I looked and I saw Denise just blissing out. I was like, stick to the notes, stick to the notes. So special, right? That I started that seed, got help from folks, and it's resonating with people, and that's the dream, right? There's a lot of dreams happening with all of the hard stuff that's happening. There's room, right, for us to also have our dreams come to life and to feel vital and creative and full of resistance and full of friendship. There were so many people I met today at the rally that I'm excited to become friends with. And I think that's when our movements are the strongest, right? Is when we actually want to hang out with each other and when we give each other joy and curiosity and inspiration. So I will turn it over to Serena to share some things about MyCan.
Yeah, let's just remove a little spotlight and get my screen shared again. But hi everyone, my name is Serena. I'm the digital community manager here at MyCan. And I also have the pleasure of leading a lot of our art and culture work, which means I get to work with Sam a ton. And I think I was maybe our team was one of the first to hear this new song, and it's been stuck in my head like honestly all day. So first off, just want to say thank you to Sam for writing pieces like that, which is, exactly what we need in times like this. Um, so I'm going to do a little bit of looking back at this past year. And you've heard about, the theme that we've selected this year from Denise and kind of those ideas of like it's been a hard and challenging year to be in this work and to see, the vast amount of destruction that has happened, honestly, to all of the hard work that has come before us. And so it just feels so important to be able to turn to our artists and culture workers to one to be a little bit the historians of this time and make the music and make the art about this time, to kind of show the momentum that we have right now, in the movement, and as well as being able to help us guide our heavy hearts and being able to process some of these big emotions that come through living in this current climate crisis and the related crises of our times. Um, so it's been important for a while now, and especially it's been like a passion project of mine to try to infuse as much of MyCan's work as possible with more creativity and emotion and rest and joy and all those pieces. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a review of this past year and some of the amazing things that we've gotten to do, just so we can kind of also get our gears turning for what might be in store next year, which I hope a lot of that might be with many of you fine folks collaborating with us. So first, we had a couple of different, this is what I put in our camp of like our true art and culture programming. We had maybe 5 or 6 climate cafes that we ran this year, which are spaces that are meant to be a haven from all of the action and the busyness, and is really dedicated to just giving people time and space in community to process some of those big emotions, and help build the emotional resilience we need to be a sustained member of this movement. And so we've had some climate cafes, we've had some climate cafe facilitator trainings, both of which would not be possible without the lovely Donna McClurkin, who has been helping me out with all of those and is an amazing facilitator. We also had a workshop on how to write climate fiction that we hosted with Marianne Lessert, who is a local author local to Grand Rapids. And I'm hoping that in the future we can do a couple more workshops with the idea of just giving people some more ideas of how to be able to express their experiences and their emotions of living through these times. Then we also, of course, had our big Fish to the Future campaign, which was a huge collaborative piece with many different nonprofits across the Midwest, really the Great Lakes states, as well as Ontario. The original goal was to have the community fold over 18,000 fish to try to beat the world record for the largest display of origami fish. I don't know if we actually ever got an official count because I feel like there's probably some still trickling around, and I know I have some like randomly in my house still that maybe never got turned in. But amazingly, the community together folded, I think at this point we can say over 90,000 fish. With a reminder, the original goal was 18, which is just incredible to see every single one of those fish being someone's wish for a safe Great Lakes that's free from things like the Line 5 pipeline, or the oil tunnel that they were trying to build. And yeah, just really seeing the widespread support from fish that we got from every single state in the US. I think it was like 6 different provinces of Canada, Puerto Rico, right? This big widespread support. And that really, showed us that this at the beginning, I think we were all like, this is maybe sounds a little silly and lighthearted, right? To be folding origami fish for something that feels as drastic and like a ticking time bomb, like Line 5. But I think this is one of the great examples of where that kind of creativity and the joy and the fun that was centered in this made this such a powerful movement. And from Great Lakes Creative, and especially I think Sarah Coffey, we built the selfie station so folks could kind of take their photos. You can see some of those fun photos here with it, and continue to tell the story of that pain as well. We did in July of this year, oops, it went a little bit too fast. We had an event out in Battle Creek on the anniversary of the Line 6B oil spill, and a press conference there. And again, Great Lakes Creatives brought an amazing puppet show, which was like the first of that style that I'd seen there. We had some of the fish on display. We had Kai Five Loops come perform, who we'll get a chance to hear again tonight. So one of those other opportunities where being able to infuse some of those art and music pieces into our events really just helps it feel so lively and welcoming to folks and being able to connect to it at another level. We also hosted a bunch of block parties across the state this year as a part of our Power to the People tour, mostly designed to try to increase education information about utility accountability. But every single one of those amazing block parties had some form of culture component worked into it. So you can see a couple of these images of some of the performers we had. And there's some arts and craft pieces. But again, using art and culture as a part of these events to try to, one, just bring in more of the wider community, and help bring more of that liveliness to many of these events. And last but definitely not least, we of course had our Michigan Climate Summit. this year in Lansing, where we had Sarm Strabra come in to do some live screen printing. We were doing some of the screen printing on t-shirts and posters to be able to use at a rally at the Capitol Day the next year. And I really want to also shout out Colleen Ludwig, who worked with us on our summit in 2024 and 23 to really help establish those community art builds and really, getting us to help us have arts be a central part of our summit every year. You can see that legacy, I am sure, will continue on. And it was such a fun experience being able to see all those designs at the rally the next day. We also had pictured here kind of the middle at the bottom, Dominique Campbell, who is an amazing, amazing MC and hip hop artist, who has worked with MyCan a ton as well. And yeah, just always love to kind of include those pieces too. So I think rather than play this right now, I'm gonna actually just transfer to the version I have downloaded. But we have a little video to share with folks too. Let me double check. Am I sharing the right thing? Yes. Breathe, catch me, taking what I love. Breathe, fast in that I make it hard. Breathe, they got me on this song. Breathe, fires is too well and I So that was from the Capitol Day that followed our summit this year, and I'll take it over back to Sam to talk a little bit about that piece.
Thanks, Serena. Yeah, we wanted to share this brief reel, right? Is what that is, as a to share it with you all and as an invitation, right? So Elizabeth and I, my collaborator friend, we were teaching a songwriting workshop with Earthwork Music at Circle Pine Center, Songwriting for Resilience. And Elizabeth had this co-writing workshop, and the prompt was, what are you afraid of? And I didn't really want to participate, but she sort of found me. It was just like, come on, let's do this. And we started writing this song, and it wound up being a lot about how does it feel under rising authoritarianism, right? I mean, there were other fears that crop up, and so it was like the universal, the personal, but we were just, writing. And I know that the people featured tonight, many of which that's where the magic lies, right? Just making space to write. So this is your invitation to keep writing and feeling and processing. Y'all are smarty pants about the climate if you're on this call, and we're so grateful for that. But, it's harder to slow down and process all of that somatically in our systems, right? But when we do, sometimes we get words out, sometimes music comes out, sometimes pictures and photos. And we want to partner with you guys to make things happen like that. So for instance, we put this reel out, and the Protect the Porkies campaign collaborated on the post with us because it resonated with them. They accepted the invitation, and then it found so many more people, right? And we were able to amplify some asks of that movement that you'll hear more about soon. So put the invite out there. We are here for it. We're investing lots of time and energy into art and culture in this climate movement because that's what's going to keep it relevant, right? So even if you haven't created before, this is your invitation. And just get in touch with us. We're very flexible and we like doing all sorts of things. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce you to Desiree Simmons, or Des, from Ypsilanti. And even though I don't live in Ypsi, I know about Des because they are just out there, being an organizer. And I learned that Des didn't grow up in Michigan, but Michigan claimed Des. And we're so lucky that you wound up here. And I think of Des as just a classic organizer, right? When things need to get done and happen, they are doing it, which I was apparent in their bio about just, being on the commission or organizing to keep a school within the Ypsilanti School Board District, serving as sustainability commissioner, being in all sorts of orgs, right? Like What's Left IPSI, Citizens for Racial Equity in Washtenaw Justice Project. So we're so excited for you guys to hear a new poem by Des. Take it away.
Should I ask ChatGPT, when will the extraction of Black bodies end? When artificial intelligence takes over and is programmed to remember all that we must forget in order to break our bonds of the before and after, of the below and above, will it accurately remember what a Black body is? On a piece of land, once a plantation, still owned by the visiting descendants, we listened to a fourth generation genealogist telling the stories of 200 plus Black bodies buried. Entire state of Virginia is a cemetery, as her grandmother would say. The state approved a data center on a heart-shaped parcel, a documented slave cemetery, to clear the land and draw electricity from the people, alive and dead. AI needs more space than we can imagine. It consumes our time, our future, our relationships with ourselves, with each other, with our environment, where what can be still exists. It is not difficult to unbury those sacred places where our ancestors' bodies lay. Just look for the signs of regeneration. Periwinkle growing, a sign of memory and devotion. Cedar saplings used as headstones created a portal to the afterlife. Some want to put Ypsilanti on the map with a supercomputer to do our thinking. Then maybe we'll have more time to break all our bodies for their profit once again. But not by all of us who still remain. We who do the work of remembering, fighting to preserve a history that is being buried, while struggling to overcome the 1870 brick wall where the paper trail fades. Will AI be able to compute who we were before we put its needs before all beings, near and far in space or time? When will the extraction of Black bodies end? Seek records of births, deaths, escapes, fiduciary papers, wills, appraisements, patents. Fill in the stories of the actual people. How deeply it mines for the riches. Unsatisfied with extracting from what is, it must take from what was and what will be. Its thirst for more cannot be quenched. We keep repeating the same patterns, depleting the bodies of human, water, land, until we have used up the best of who we are, just to be programmed to feed the void. Who will recall that it exists where Black bodies were laid to rest? Will AI be silent? Will it applaud its work? Will it simply cease to remember that it was ever any other way and credit the importance of the land as its creation? Remain determined to trace back a life that was worth the trauma of being treated like property. It is painful, not cathartic, but still necessary simply to be known. But AI is merely what we feed it, and it will never be satiated. It will take our memories, our ideas, our dreams, our resources, our stories, and it will never have enough. It will keep repeating the same patterns, trying to fill the void of being real. Los Alamos National Laboratory, University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, the Carter, Winston, Wickham, Shirley family plantations in Virginia, those who only see land as a commodity to control, who only see humans as something to own. AI's explanation of who we are, who we were, who we will be, is in the hands of those who forgot that we are all connected. We must never forget what is difficult, to preserve what can't be programmed. If artificial intelligence takes over, will it even know what a Black body is? Thank you.
Des, wow, I had read your words, but to hear you perform that poem put me right back in each and every word. Thank you so much for reading that for us. Wow. As with poems like that and songs like that, what can stop us now? As many of you know, I did the policy, I did the science for over 20 years. And what I truly believe has been missing from this movement is poems like that and songs like Sam is writing. That's what this movement needs. One of the first names that I recognized doing this work out there in the world is our professional winner tonight. So we're going to have three award winners, folks. The first one is our professional winner. One of again, the first people that I ever recognized doing work at the intersection of art and advocacy. And a name that's pretty well known out there to any of you that have been playing along here. Our professional winner tonight is the incomparable Seth Bernard. I'm gonna try to give you a little intro, my friend. Born and raised on the earthwork farm in northern rural Michigan, Seth was brought up in the folk and farmstead culture with an enriching, integrative experience of arts, agriculture, and community. He is a prolific songwriter and recording artist with 12 solo albums and a dozen more collaborative projects in his catalog. Please check out his page. He is probably coming to a town near you in the next month or so, and you could see him live. Seth also co-launched the nonprofit organization Title Track, engaging creative practice to build resilient social ecological systems. He also founded Earthwork Music, the renowned Michigan-based collective of successful independent musicians. Seth has traveled the world and blanketed the US as a magnetic performer and cultural worker, but he's equally at home fronting a large electric ensemble or with his acoustic guitar. Seth, I think you have been one of the longest time partners of the Michigan Climate Action Network, a regular performer at the Climate Summit and this year's Capitol Day. And we again find ourselves partnering with you, Seth, as you are leading the way with your own unique contributions of art and activism in the fight against these hyperscale AI data centers. Seth, for your massive contributions to the cultural heart of this movement, we are overjoyed to award you with the Professional Climate Champion Award. Please take some time to tell these folks about your journey and your work.
Thank you so much, Denise. Wow. I am so incredibly honored to be in this meeting with you all in the company of such incredible humans that I love so much. I am such a huge fan of so many of the people that I see in this meeting. And Des, thank you so much for that powerful poem. It is always wonderful to share space with you, even if it's virtual. Sam, just cooking, just wherever you go, cooking up new tunes and community. So grateful. I am a huge fan of Tom, so I'm really excited to be honored alongside Tom, and his work has truly inspired me and put a lot of wind in my sails. And servant leadership embodiment in terms of like doing whatever needs to be done to achieve objectives and to bring people together. And Anamika, I have not met you yet, but I'm very excited to get to know you and to support your leadership as well. So yes, I was at the Capitol with many of you today, and it was so powerful to be there. It's always powerful to be there. September was amazing as well, and it sort of felt like, okay, back here, it's sort of like my second office now. Like I could get used to this. Like let's just keep an amplifier here, and let's have a couple electric guitars that stay inside the Capitol so we can just kind of grab them and rip. We're standing up for the things that are most important to all of us, and clean water, the ability to be in relationship with each other and keeping our humanity intact. This fight against hyperscale AI data centers, it's like tomato, tomato, potato, potato, data, data. Let's call the whole thing off. Like, this is a fight for our humanity, really. And I have never seen an issue that has brought more people together in all my years of organizing. And I started really young, y'all. My mom was one of the first Vista volunteers under Bobby Kennedy in the 60s. And she taught me how to be a rebel in the best way possible, with a lot of love and music and making sure that there's good food. So I got brought along to a lot of meetings when I was a kid, and I do the same now as a father. And here we are fighting some of the greatest terrors that we've ever faced, some of the most, malicious and insulting and horrific and sort of like, are you kidding me? You really want to try to do this? You think you can pull this off? The forces that we are up against are formidable, but they're also not as strong, and they're not as inevitable or invincible as they would like us to believe. And a lot of what we're seeing here is really just a giant sales operation done by a lot of extremely wealthy people who are actually desperate to sell a product that is not very popular, that is sort of reliant upon high interest loans, and is being deployed as a parasite on the working class and on our lands and our water. And people are onto this, people from across the political spectrum. So I was invited to talk a little bit about my work here, and I live up here in Kalkaska County. I made it back just a couple minutes into the sound check, and I was so happy to hear all the music here in this meeting. But not too far away from here, there was a 1,400-acre data center proposed, and within 1 week, Kalkaska residents in the DNR ran it all out of town, and they canceled all the plans. People showed up. People showed up strong. People showed up curious. People showed up focused, and we won. And this is starting to happen more and more across the state. People are coming together, they're fighting, and what's happening is not just beating one by one data centers, but it's movement building. And it's something that all of us have waited for, and not just waited for, but worked day and night for decades. And it's multiracial, multi-generational, multi-faith, working class solidarity. And it's a movement that is gaining power and gaining traction. And I expect data centers to be the central issue of the 2026 election cycle. And I expect major coalition building and some really generational opportunities to come down the pike as a result of the movement building and the awareness raising that has been a part of this fight. And so what we're seeing is the veil sort of getting lifted on the corruption within our political system. So I think that's a really great entry point for people that don't know enough about this. And really that statement right there, I don't know enough about this, is a great entry point. We should know a lot more about this. There should not be redacted documents. There should not be NDAs. None of our elected leaders should be signing NDAs. We need more transparency about any industry that wants to come into our lives and our neighborhoods, but especially this because it is so parasitic in every way. And there is such a universal distrust of big tech. So this collusion is sort of lifting the veil on the corruption within our system. And this week, we have the opportunity to be involved in something pretty historic, which is like the Michigan Public Service Commission has been asked to grant ex parte to fast track providing power for what would be the largest data center in the country in Saline Township. Many of y'all have been tracking this very closely. Michigan Public Service Commission has never had a microscope like this on them. And it's called the Michigan Public Service Commission. What people are realizing is that our whole system has been flooded by money from the utilities. The top two contributors to Michigan politics are DTE and consumers. And Blue Cross is number 3. So it's hard for us to hold, our healthcare providers and our utility providers accountable when they have funded all of the elected leaders who are supposed to be doing that. We do have enough allies within, the halls of Congress and definitely in the AG's office to be shining a light on this and fighting this. But what's happening this week is that everyone is focused on this decision. And so I want to invite all of you. I can't stop and won't stop organizing. So you give me the mic and I'm going to organize. And I appreciate the opportunity and the encouragement to do so. I also do have a guitar here. So I got that up my sleeve too. But we can make public comments and we can show up for the meeting. It's at 1 p.m. on Thursday. And any of you who might have relationships, leverage them. I mean, Dan Scripps is the chair of the Michigan Public Service Commission. When he was running for Congress, I used to invite him up on stage with me to give speeches to the people. He inspired me to try to protect the water and believe in the process. So I'm leveraging that relationship. I'm trying to help him know that I believe that he has the ability to do the right thing and to stand strong, and that he inspired me to do so. Some of you are big supporters of the governor. And what is happening here is that she's giving exemptions to these companies from the climate goals that we all set. And they're trying to fast track power that we don't have, trying to expand our grid by 50% without being able to prove that we can do it. And it's because the utilities are in the pockets of our politicians, and Governor Whitmer, unfortunately, is included in that and received $550,000 from DTE last year. So the good news is, we are winning this fight, and all eyes are on the Michigan Public Service Commission. And if they make the wrong choice, it actually puts a lot of wind in the sails of Mop Up Michigan. And we need y'all to really work on Mop Up Michigan. This is a ballot initiative to eliminate funding from DTE, consumers, and Blue Cross that I all just mentioned from contributing at all. And they have these dark money groups under other names. Maybe some of you have seen these big billboards for Mike Duggan that they don't say vote for Mike Duggan, but they're gassing him up. So this is the kind of money we're talking about, these utilities that come in and they run rampant. So if you have relationships, you need to leverage them. And I think also this is something that we can crack open with our people, our family members, and our friends who we may have battled on other issues. The person that you have been trying to convince climate change is real about, I mean, they might already be against data centers. So you can work for the same thing, clean air and clean water, using different language on the same issue. And this is it's an issue that everyone can find a reason to sort of go up against. It violates our sovereignty. It's a justice issue. It's about spiritual freedom. It is the most grotesque misuse of our land and our resources that we've seen so far. And it has the power to galvanize a working class movement on a scale that we've never seen in Michigan. So we're going to fight, and we're going to do everything we can to win in Saline. Saline's sort of the tip of the spear, and that's what's happening this week. But we're going to need to continue to fight all year round, and we're going to need to take this generational opportunity to mop up Michigan and take the money out of politics in Michigan in 2026. And that's something all of us can organize around. Go to mopupmichigan.org to learn more about that. I think that I could go on and on and on, but I think that, once you start looking into this, it doesn't take long for you to sort of get on board with the scale of how atrocious it is and how many different ways we can get involved. So I just really want to encourage y'all to dip into these waters if you haven't already. And I want to give a shout out to our dear friends from Pleasant Peninsula who are on the call. Eddie's been creating this amazing art. Pleasant Peninsula is a collective of muralists that do public art for environmental advocacy. And in the spirit of the theme of this awards, I just wanted to honor them and the work that they're doing. A lot of their work has gone viral, and it's the power of art, the power of the creative process to bring people in, to draw people in, to help people look further and to read a message and then to take an action step. And I love the fact that MyCan is serious about this. And it helps us take our work seriously and more seriously, and that is a message that spreads. So I've always been honored to stand with MyCan. I have so much respect for the leadership of the team. To be able to go to Lansing in September and build with so many people at the conference, and then take all that energy to the steps of the Capitol, and then join Tom and the Protect the Porkies crew as we marched around the Capitol and into the Rotunda. It was just a beautiful community building experience where we were all working together, and a rising tide lifts all boats. And I've been feeling such strong energy around this June Jordan quote, "We are the ones we've been waiting for," in this difficult year that we've all had. And I know it's been difficult for all of us in many different ways. And for me, it's been a big grief walk, transitioning some of my life's work with Earthwork Harvest Gathering into what's going to come next on Earthwork Farm, and taking a pause from doing the Michigan Music Festivals and focusing on my health and recovering from Lyme disease. And also a year of loss. I lost a number of people that were very, very close to me. Michael Berkowitz, I want to name Michael, who was my mentee, and some of you have been mentors and have felt mentored by your mentees, so you know what that's like. And probably all of us have lost people that have sort of become our angels in the movement work. And it helps you sort of feel that you have this responsibility and this momentum and some wings. So what I would like to do now is to dedicate this award that you guys have so graciously given to me to Holly Bird. And Holly transitioned to ancestorhood on April 2nd. And Holly Ba is a bright spirit. As one of my other heroes, Monica Lewis Patrick, said, Holly is a nova. And I feel Holly's spirit and her support and her belief in me every day. And it keeps me grounded, and it keeps me humble, and it keeps me fierce and creative. And I want to just splash some of that on y'all. And this phrase, "live like Holly." And A.G. Nessel spoke at Holly's memorial, and she talked about how a phone call from Holly was one of the biggest inspirations that she received to take her work on Line 5 seriously. And we're still in that work. And I see you, Bill Latka. You have been everywhere that this has been happening, and I admire you, and you are always with me too. And so many of you that have been doing this work. So we all got to live like Holly, and that involves taking care of our people and doing this frontline mutual aid. It involves cracking people up during meetings, like kind of riding that edge a little bit. Like I remember Holly used to try to make me laugh. Like we'd be behind Governor Whitmer, and she'd be like, "Eat some more of those blueberries." And so it's like that liveliness, that buoyancy is what we need to do it. And we need to do it for the rest of our lives. And I know I'm among people that are serious about that, doing this work for the rest of our lives. And so I'm so honored to be with you all. And I want to just play in closing a song that Holly used to sing with me. And it was the last song that I got to sing to Holly. And I want to offer it to you all. And if you listen to the version on my record, you get to hear Sam Cooper singing with me, which is always a delight. And I am so So thankful once again to be in such soulful and heartfelt and serious company here. And this is what I'm here for, this work with all of you in this moment. And we have what it takes to make some of the biggest changes that we've ever had to make as human beings on planet Earth to get back into right relationship with each other and Mother Earth. So onward. Carry yourself like a king. There ain't no shame in being poor. Ain't nobody else got the vibe that you bring. So play your own game and keep your soul pure. The strength of your heart will carry you through your whole life. Carry yourself like a queen. There ain't no time to suffer fools. This world may be rough, but your spirit's pristine. Let your mind unwind in crystalline pools. The strength of your heart will carry you through your whole life. Carry yourself like a servant, leader, servant of love, of children, of elders, able to respond to the call of the teacher, to give to the world and keep your eyes open. The strength of your heart will carry you through your whole life. The strength of your heart will carry you through your whole life. Thank you so much, everybody. Onward.
Wow, beautiful. Holly is so stoked about what's happening. That's what that feels like, hearing that song again. Whew. Well, I'm really excited to hear from the next person, Colleen Ludwig, who was MyCan's artistic director for our 2023 and 2024 climate summits. And give some love in the emojis or the chat if you have been to a climate summit. This was my first one this past year, and it was a banger. I can't wait for the next one. So many ideas. It's so fun. such a creative act, right, to do every year together. And we're so co-creating it every year. So come be involved with us in making that. So Colleen is an associate professor of art at Oakland University, currently wrapping up her last semester so that she will soon have more time for the multifaceted, site-specific, advocacy-focused work that transpires in overlapping circles of collaboration with community and research partners. I just had to read that because it was so good. I encourage you all to read Colleen's bio because it's amazing, but I will let Colleen take it away.
Thank you, Samantha. And thanks everybody for having me. Don't quite know how I'm going to follow up that amazing talk and song. Thank you, Seth, for such a soulful and just genuine expression. And thank you for everyone who's been working on the data centers. Looking forward to lending a hand on that soon. But mostly, I just wanted to share some fun pictures of summer, just because it is just a great way to remember about why we work for these things, right? And my practice is definitely about trying to bring people's awareness back to our relationship with nature, our kinship with nature. And I have a very geeky and data-driven presentation ahead of you. So it's kind of a switch gears, but here we go. So Insect Summer Camp is a project I've been involved in for the last 4 years and helped co-design and co-lead for the last 3. And it's really about changing perspectives. We meet every year, actually in Denmark forest. So it's an international event that draws people from all over the world. But we're all there to change our perspective and to find different ways to relate to our non-human kin, to learn about our non-human kin, and to find ways to translate those experiences into art and design practices. And so, how do we do it? We have 3 different focus groups that create experiential practices before the camp. Being and becoming is about connecting and relating, especially with the body. Critical making is about making art and design that is regenerative and takes all beings into account and the earth in general and all her needs. And then mapping, which is an interesting way of just sort of learning through visual diagramming. So I'm going to just race through these slides. In mapping, we usually pick a companion species, or this year we picked a companion relationship between species to learn about and to study through both online resources, but also through listening and observing. And that all of these things go together in critical making. Last year we did insect vibration methods, and this year we did different weaving methodologies. And then we also do a lot of like meditation, imagining ourselves as different species, trying to imagine what it would be like to sense like another species, and then just also having a lot of fun and dressing up like another species and just doing some play. So I'm going to just race through these, but this year we picked 3 ecosystems close to water and underwater, because we have some beautiful lakes at the site, close to the ground and underground, studying moss and soil and lichen and how they relate to each other. and then the meadow, which is filled with lots of insects. And we were looking especially at vibrational relationships, which happens a lot in the meadow, where insects vibrate and actually communicate through that vibration. So etymologists come to the camp. It's a real mix. And so we're hoping to build a community that is, cross-disciplinary and can help one another and can find these different ways of relating and observing. So one of our participants this year was almost blind, but she has just a little fraction of sight. And so we made these toilet paper roll tubes with just a little pinprick open so that we could see a little bit like her. And then we do these, we design these exercises. So this is a sort of puzzle that you can put together, trying to map the different relationships between the species. And I'm really excited about the future of this sort of iteration of the mapping. And then here we have the weaving, and we were weaving, trying to make actual like habitat for insects, although that didn't totally work out as planned. But we had some indigenous people with us this year who were also able to show us some weaving patterns from their culture, which was really nice. And just to show you, we have just a really great, that was just 3 out of the 9 pages of staff and volunteers who come to the camp. And this last picture is just, just to show you the worlds that you can sink into in the micro level, and just think about it all year long. How many species are coexisting here? What complex mutualistic relationships might I find? And I just want to say, how this intersects with politics is, thinking about who has agency and who has priority. And if you, did I stop my share? Did I stop my share? Yes. Okay. And if you bring indigenous perspectives into it and you start thinking about the river and the earth as entities in themselves, you can start thinking about what rights they have just on their own as well. So it's not just for humans that we fight, but it's for everybody. And with that, I will say thank you.
Oh, Colleen, all the worlds we can sink into. I hope you all heard that phrase. It's so wonderful to have you here with us tonight. As was mentioned, you are our inaugural artistic advisor who was willing to dream big with me. And literally everything that you're seeing tonight is in your wake, Colleen, is because of that seed that you planted in us and at MyCam. Oh, oof. Now she's got the time. She can be back for 2026 Summit. I got plans, as you all know. All right, all right. Our volunteer award, though, my fine friends. And let me just take a minute here to remind everyone about how much of this work, the vast majority of it, is done by volunteers, regular folks taking up the things that are important in their communities with their hearts and the talents that they have. We have a magnificent example of volunteerism, action, and art tonight with us. I am so excited to introduce and give you a little bit of a background to our volunteer. It's for the Climate Action Award. Tom Grotwell is a resident of Wakefield Township, a writer and multi-instrumental musician who spent about a decade exploring the world and learning traditional music, and is a wonderful creative voice in Michigan's climate movement. Tom founded Protect the Porkies, a nonprofit organization opposing proposed mines in the Upper Peninsula. The group draws its name from those Porcupine Mountains, and the campaign began in earnest in June of 2023 when a petition was launched calling on people to oppose the development of the proposed Copperwood Mine. Another Canadian company planned to mine underground near the Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park and Lake Superior. And much like the campaigns at the turn of the century, where landscape artists used their canvases to share the wonders of the West into the halls of Congress to gain public land protection in America, Tom and the Protect the Porkies campaign have organized a postcard campaign, a poster, a photo, songwriting contests that are all just shining examples of how to incorporate the arts for social change. Tom, we are so grateful for your work. We loved hosting you at the summit, and seeing you in action was one of the inspirations for this award tonight. So many folks nominated after that, and we are so pleased to give you the Volunteer for Climate Action Award. Tom, tell them a little bit about your journey and your work.
Well, thank you so much, Denise. This is an immense honor, not only for the award, which I'll accept on behalf of Protect the Porkies. Protect the Porkies is not really an organization in the traditional sense. It's a decentralized movement that includes thousands of people. Anybody who steps up to challenge a permit application or make a phone call to a lawmaker. Protect the Porkies as many of the folks in this room right now. But it's also wonderful to have not only our work recognized, but also the artistic component. And I hope to talk a bit about why art is so important in these movements. But I'd also like to say that I'm just been personally inspired by many of the folks in this room, and I'm sure many more who I don't know yet. But Seth, your words earlier and your music was wonderful, and those insect creations were truly mind-blowing. So I'm going to do a screen share now, and I'll show you guys what we've been up to. All right, so you can find out a lot more about Protect the Porkies if you go to protecttheporkies.com. But first, for those who haven't had the pleasure of visiting the Porcupine Mountains Wilderness, which is Michigan's largest wilderness area and largest original old growth forest. We're talking primeval forest at a time when over 99% of Michigan's original forest has been logged. The fact that this is still here is truly an incredible piece of our heritage. And I have the honor of living very near to all of this majesty. So when we learned that a proposed copper sulfide mine was potentially going to be erected right next door to this incredible place, as well as the North Country Trail in Lake Superior, the first thing I did was, Google, like, okay, where's the resistance campaign against this? Clearly, people are fighting back. And I had the revelation that, well, if there's nobody, then I guess it has to be me. And that was really kind of a profound moment because I had always been used to sort of watching from the sidelines and doing what I can to assist in the movements of others, but had never really thought of myself as a leader. And that was never really the intention. But when you find yourself in a position where there simply isn't anybody else who lives in that area, then it falls on your shoulders to speak up. And so one of the big concerns about the proposed Copperwood mine, even though it's built as a copper mine, is that copper is actually only 1.5% of what comes out of the ground, and all the rest would be multiple pyramids of Giza worth of waste stored in unprecedented proximity to Lake Superior. And our campaign, even though we're based in a very remote area and we're a pretty ragtag ensemble, we've had some major successes. So a $50 million taxpayer-funded grant to advance the mine has been 3 times blocked, thanks to many of the folks in this room. The mining company now plans to use increased light and noise prevention measures, thanks to our forcing the conversation on light and noise. And they also have conducted a comprehensive reevaluation of the project and now plan to store mine waste underground, decreasing the size of that waste facility by 40%. Of course, these are purely hypothetical plans because we're going to make sure the mine is not built, but it's great to see that, if the project does move forward, it will be a better case scenario. So many of our actions in the past couple of years have been based around trying to block Michigan taxpayer funding from advancing this project. And there's a few kind of steps that we considered. Of course, this is a political decision. So if you think about change, cultural change is like a river. The political decision is what tends to get most of the media attention. What actually happens is maybe later on, that's the mouth of the river, what actually gets enforced. But what influences those political decisions is, of course, political participation. How much pressure do people put on politicians? What influences those people? It's art, it's music, it's culture and conversation. What influences the kind of art and music that we make is direct experience. So I put direct experience up there at the top of the mountain. That, for me, is hiking in the Porkies. It's swimming in Lake Superior. It's communing with nature. I think we've all had experiences like that. And so, this segment of this presentation will focus on how we focused on art and music as a part of a way to reach the mouth of the river, what actually happens after politicians make decisions. And so the first thing we did is we hosted a poster contest and we asked people to give positive renditions of what our campaign means to them. We're dealing with some pretty heavy subject matter, but really we're not an opposition group. We're advocates in favor of water and life and allowing the Upper Peninsula's economy to evolve. And so we received over 30 submissions. These are just a few of our favorites. And it's really awe-inspiring. We had folks from all walks of life, all skill sets. And the next step we did is we didn't want those posters just to remain as digital files. So we put them on some postcards for people that they could then use either as decorations in their home or as a way to reach out to their friends and family to spread word. And I'll talk about in a bit how this became an even more crucial part of our campaign later on. We put that image and some other imagery on stickers. And, stickers and postcards, on one level, it was a way for a small campaign to fund itself. On another level, this is something that large corporations know, is that if you want people to resonate with you, they have to feel like a spiritual connection to whatever it is that you're selling. In this case, what we're selling is people speaking up for the natural world. But when you give them a sticker or a postcard, they smack it on a water bottle or their laptop, and then they think about it. They think about your campaign later on in the day, in the week, in the month. And so then whatever issue it is that you're fighting for, it doesn't just evaporate like dew, but when you call on them later to, okay, you got the stickers, now is the time actually to put our money where our mouth is and make those phone calls to lawmakers. It's a way of keeping sustained engagement. We hosted a songwriting contest this year. We offered some cash prizes in exchange for compositions celebrating nature, water, and resistance to ecological destruction. We received over 50 submissions, and you can listen to all of them at protecttheporkies.bandcamp.com. We put them out as 3 compilation albums, and it's very much worth a listen. There's a lot of very heartfelt music on these discs. And then it really all came together earlier this year when, in our continued fight against the Michigan funding of the Copperwood mine, we hosted postcard writing parties. And we invited some of the musicians from our songwriting contest to come and play their music live. And then we provided free pre-stamped postcards. Over 400 postcards were filled out by folks at these events in Ironwood, Watersmeet, and Marquette, all to the accompaniment of beautiful live music. And these postcards, of course, went to our lawmakers in Lansing. And really, the content of these postcards was gratitude. We thanked our lawmakers for standing with us 3 times already to reject the $50 million. And we asked them politely to stand with us again if they are asked to. One final artistic step we took this year is we provided the initial funding for the Ironwood Ecology Mural Fest in collaboration with Pleasant Peninsula. And in the town of Ironwood, it is the largest town in Gogebic County, and it's known for its mining heritage murals. And it's wonderful to celebrate the heritage and remember folks who worked really hard to try to make a better life for their families and their descendants. However, this picture doesn't really tell the full story of heritage. So now there are 3 beautiful new murals in Ironwood that show a larger, deeper option for what heritage really means to this area. So just to wrap things up, here we've got the Big Carp River in the Porkies. And just to think about the river as a metaphor for how change works, you've got what people experience at the top, that influences what people feel, that determines what they think, and finally what they do. So to the greatest extent possible, our campaign celebrates floating upstream, right? We should dare to influence so many important actions taking place up here in the surface realm. We've got to dig deep into ourselves. And yep, that's all I've got. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
That was so nice to hear. Thank you. Oh my gosh, as Seth said, I'm such a fan of everyone on this call, and I'm so excited to see what happens next year as you all continue this work, as we all continue this work together. Yeah, total legend. Um, Next up, I believe we have Kai 5 from Ann Arbor. You on deck there? Yeah! All right. So, if you guys haven't heard Kai 5 yet, you're in for a real treat. Looping artist extraordinaire. They're releasing an EP on 12/29 only on Bandcamp. What a freaking power move. I love that. Kai 5's got a great website. You can learn all about them. I'm just going to let them flow. Here we go.
Thank you so much, Sam. This is brilliant to be here with all of you today. I'll turn off my reverb here for a second. Thank you to Sam for getting me involved. Congratulations to Seth and Tom. And it's amazing just to hear from everyone. That poem from Des was incredible, and everything is just beautiful. Lovely to be a part of this. I'm going to share you a song here with my loop station, and I'm going to let it speak for itself. That art and beauty, peace for the soul, peace for the soul. Art and peace for the soul. Art and beauty, peace for the soul. Art and beauty, peace for the soul. Show me freedom, show me care. Show me justice, show me fair. Show me freedom, show me care. Show me justice, show me you care. And that art and beauty for the soul, peace for the soul. Art and beauty, peace for the soul. Art and beauty, peace for the soul. Art and beauty, peace for the soul. Give me music, give me clean water, give me music for everyone. Give me music, give me clean water. Give me music, give me clean water, water. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm Kai 5.
Wow. Good to see you again, Kai Five. We saw each other at the 15th anniversary of the Kalamazoo River oil spill. These guys came out along with that puppet show and treated us to a really amazing day. Art and beauty, a feast for the soul, right from our funders from Kalina. Thank you again to the generous Kalina Foundation that makes all of these awards possible. Last but certainly not least, our Youth Climate Award leader is the final award of the evening. Wow, you all are still in for a treat here. I'm so glad everyone is staying online. This amazing program. Anamika Verma is a high school senior from Troy, Michigan. She is a marine plastic ambassador for Earth Eco International, where she has traveled to Washington, D.C. to lobby for national bills and connect with youth across the United States to learn how art is and can be implemented to create change for our environment. She also works at the Detroit Institute of Arts, where she is the co-chair of the Teen Arts Council and has organized teen events for Metro Detroit youth, connecting advocacy to art. beyond that, and I'm slightly obsessed, Anamiko, with your Instagram now. She is committed to reducing textile waste through upcycling. And so her site, you guys, is so beautiful. She is teaching you and showing you with so much love how to create patchwork clothes and upcycle your old clothes. We all know fast fashion is one of the biggest contributors to the climate crisis. And after graduation, she tells us she's going to double major in environmental studies and French, drawing on her 9 years of experience at a French immersion school in Canada in order to continue to advance global and community centered solutions to climate related issues. I am so happy that someone nominated you for this award and that we get to know you and welcome you into this community of advocates here at MyCane. I can't wait to get to know you a little bit better. Tell us all about it, Anamika.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that introduction. It's really a pleasure to get that award. And I just want to know how like inspiring it is to hear all of your guys' stories. And there's nothing really more empowering than being surrounded by people that are just as passionate as you guys are. So, to start off, I thought I would share my journey with art. For a long time, actually, I never thought of myself as a creative person. In fact, like freshman year of high school, I took intro for drawing, for one very specific reason, and that was to get my art credit over with as quickly as possible. And while now I have a lot of respect for Picasso, lessons like reimagining Picasso pieces every single day was not really my ideal use of an hour. So when that semester ended, I was very happy to leave my so-called artistic abilities behind. I'm just gonna share my screen now so you guys can see this. Oh. Um, so then my sophomore year, I moved to suburban Detroit, and a month or so into my move, I was caught in a conversation about Detroit Institute of Arts. And while I had very little interest of reliving my freshman year, I decided to check it out. One of the best decisions I've ever made, and maybe one of the only instances where I'm very happy that peer pressure got the best of me and I decided to check out this wonderful museum. Surprisingly, seeing art that centered community, nature, and togetherness brought me back to like memories of my childhood in Canada and my summers spent in Jasper and Banff, surrounded by greenery, and my family that were very dedicated to visit every national park they could. I remember one time traveled all the way from Saskatchewan, Canada, where I lived, to Yellowstone really sparked for the environment. But in the museum, what really surprised me was what surprised me wasn't really the paintings, but how like deeply they resonated in the conversation they sparked with the friends I decided to go with. This newfound appreciation of how art captures connections and unite people across cultures makes me want to bring those same feelings of connection through art to teens. So especially people like me that never saw themselves as creative or artistic in any way. So I joined the Detroit Institute of Arts Teen Council, something I am now co-chair of. And when I first joined, one of my first roles was to help design teen events inspired by our annual summit theme, which was the intersection of art and activism. And that meant spending hours with other teen council members, sitting with art, noticing reoccurring colors, themes, and stories, and asking ourselves how we could translate them into experiences that would feel relevant to people our age. So when our summit finally came together, we talked about the 17 SDGs, had artist talks, and guided tours for hundreds of teens in the Metro Detroit area. And what really stayed with me was like the process of creating and organizing an event like this. Like seeing teens pause in front of pieces and talk about what it reminded them of, laugh with strangers over half-finished projects. And that's when I understood that creative expression really was not about like the talent or technical skill and all the things that I thought made an artist when I was younger. But it was about giving people the opportunity to reflect and to interpret and to connect and using art as a way to do that. And so these are some pictures if you can see. Yeah, I'm really grateful to be a part of these like teens from the Metro Detroit area. It's really wonderful to get to experience art in a way where you all get to communicate and build your ideas off of each other. I think it's so beautiful getting to do that. So yeah. Um, so this is I've posted videos on For Earth Echoes Instagram, but I'm trying to create my own Instagram now, so I'm gonna start posting on there. So yeah, if you want to check that out. So this wonderful experience with art led me to connect art to my passion of the environment through upcycling initiatives. Some of them are pictured here. I'm moving right now, so I couldn't find a picture of a bunch of them, but yeah. So actually what happened was one day I like was scrolling on Reddit, and Reddit scrolling would often lead me to like discover random facts, and actually even helped me get my back walkover one day for cheer. But it led me to like learn an uneasy fact about how there are currently enough clothes on Earth that could last us 6 generations. And so I remember glancing over to my wardrobe and noticing how it's overflowing with clothes, and how I just had shopping bags from the mall trip I had the past weekend. And I kind of realized I couldn't continue to be part of this problem anymore. So later that day, I dug out my mom's ancient sewing machine and spent hours deciphering how to get my machine to work. So from placing the sewing needle in place and tugging the thread through all the parts of the sewing machine, I finally got my machine to work, and I grabbed some of my clothes, my wardrobe, and started upcycling them. I made like an oddly fitting polka dot dress I had into a shirt, which you can see over here. And so as time wore on and I began wearing my newly upcycled patchwork clothes to school, I was met with people stopping me in the hallways to ask me about the patchwork shirts I was wearing. And I was met with so much curiosity and excitement, and that made me really happy. So I decided to organize like a fun little patchwork upcycling event and even though my friends were mainly the only people that came, it was really nice to introduce them to a new way to take care of new clothes, and I hope to continue to get to do different upcycling events with new people. Um, but then I took the lessons I learned beyond upcycling clothes for myself and decided to get involved in helping our environment with Earth Echo International, and I became a marine plastic ambassador, where I was offered a grant for my upcycling work, mentorship for my work, and a fully funded trip to Washington, D.C. And so when I went to Washington, D.C., I got to speak with Congress members, including my own U.S. representative, about problems I was seeing in my own communities. But I think really the most eye-opening part of this experience was getting to meet with ambassadors from all across the United States and learning how every single person had their own different backstory, and hearing from them sharing their own artistic entrepreneurial like adventure they were going to start in their own communities and how it would help. And it really kind of reshaped my sense of what environmental work should look like, because I realized it can't just be built for communities, it has to be built with communities, and it has to welcome people that don't already see themselves in the movement. So just like my younger self didn't think she was artistic or didn't see the importance of being in the climate movement, I want to continue to bring that to people that don't see themselves in the movement already. And that's exactly why creative expression matters so much to me, is because in a world dominated by like alarming headlines and statistics that make personal actions sometimes feel powerless, at least for me, art, fashion, and storytellings are really my doorway. They invite people in, they make climate action way more human, and they help me imagine like better systems and a better future for myself and my community and our community. And like I used to only think that climate action would happen in policy rooms or protests, but it also happens in classrooms and museums and even my own bedroom with my sewing machine. So, yeah, I would really want to say thank you to Michigan Climate Action for recognizing that like creativity has power. And I really want to thank you to my parents too, who like listened to the sound of my sewing machine at very late hours of the night. I want to thank my Earth Echo program mentor, Dr. Sam Athey, who helped make my upcycling dreams into reality. And I want to thank my friends that I've made through this journey and through this passion. And I want to also thank everyone in this room today and for getting to see the work that you guys do and for continuing to do the work that you guys do. Yeah, like I said, there's nothing that's more empowering than being surrounded by people that are just so passionate, and it makes me really want to continue the work that I'm doing and makes me want to work more for our community. So I'm really, really grateful to get to experience this. So thank you.
Wow. We all just a big round of applause for Anamika and all of our amazing award winners tonight. I recently myself just got gifted an old sewing machine, and I'm very excited to finally learn how to use it. It's me and sewing machines for some reason have just like had beef in the past, and I'm usually not bad at like technology like that, but I never can make sewing machines work that well. But Anamika, you're inspiring me to really try again. Yeah, sometimes it's like a printer. Just it likes certain people. I don't know what it is. But yeah, thank you all so, so much for being here with us. It was so deeply inspiring and amazing to hear from all of our award winners, as well as all of our performers today. Like I said in our chat, we are running like 10 to 15 minutes over time. So I'm going to keep these closing bits really, really fast. But I just want to take a quick opportunity to do a little bit of looking ahead to 2026. And first off, I want to say with all these amazing artists and culture workers that we've been introduced to in some scenarios over this nomination and award process, I am sure that there are lots of amazing plans to come in 2026 that are, the wheels are just starting to get to turning. So here's just a little sneak peek at what is already planned for early in 2026. And when it comes to some of our art and culture programming, one thing I want to shout out is that we are going to have a lot more climate cafes and facilitator trainings. Um, Starting as early as January 10th, we're going to have a facilitator training that's an online experience. So if you feel like climate cafes could be a useful tool to bring to your communities, on our website, you're more than welcome to join us. Reach out to me or Donna for questions if you want to know what it's like, or if it would be a good fit for you. We also have in the works 4 different Eco Book Club group meetings with movement and meaning. And for one of those is going to be on January 14th. And the author of this kind of illustrated book called You Are a Sacred Place will be joining us to talk about that work. And we'll have some more, one every month in February, March, and April as well, with some more books that we will announce soon once we kind of get all those registration pages together. And of course, we'll have a lot of other workshops, some discussions, and we're planning to do some calls for artwork in the future too, since we're very deeply inspired by the Protect the Porkies campaign and all the amazing calls for art that y'all did this year. Over on the other side of things, we are also building out the My Community space, which is a very intentional and dedicated space for all of us to connect and learn and organize with our fellow network members. At the beginning of this meeting, we heard a lot about data centers and big tech and all those things. And there's a piece of us that feels like we need to have a space that is off of big tech platforms so that we can truly talk and connect and learn, and maybe a semi-safer space sometimes. And just having that intentional space where you're not going to be flooded with ads about who knows what at the same time. This space, while it's for connection, we also have the plans to make a lot of different courses there too, knowing that, to be a great and empowered advocate for the environment, for the climate, and to be able to maybe inform some of the future creative works coming out too. It's great to have a solid background in some of the knowledge of it, what's going on in these times. So right now, I think Amanda already dropped the link in the chat earlier this evening. We do have a new course called Behind the Clouds on understanding the climate and community impacts of data centers. And we plan to continue exploring more both false and just solutions for the climate movement and being able to highlight some of those, and have some accessible courses for people to be able to learn more through that. So if you're interested, please check out, it's just community@myclimateaction.org. You do need to make a password and an account and save it. It's part of it being a safe and intentional space. If you have any problems with that, always feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to give you a tutorial or walkthrough or whatever you need. One other really exciting thing that we have coming up is the Community Climate Action Fellowship. So we've partnered with the University of Michigan, and we're offering this really first of its kind program to be able to connect students with grassroots climate action organizations across Michigan. So we have a lot of our steering committee members and those organizations that get to be a part of this first round of host sites. And the link there goes to our webpage about it, where you can learn a lot more about this program. So if you are, have some college age students in your life that go to U of M, send this link to them, get them interested in potentially doing one of these fellowships with us for this summer. I think that was as fast as I could do that. So I just wanted to end this evening again with just so much gratitude for our three amazing award winners tonight, and as well as the diversity of performers that we were able to showcase tonight. And just for all of you, it is such a dream for me for this to be like my job right now. To be able to have this like incredible event, and it's just so deeply inspiring. So thank you all so, so much for being a part of this work, being part of this movement with us. And I hope you all have safe, restful, and lovely holiday seasons. And we'll see you soon in 2026 for hopefully a ton of collaborative work with you. So, Ben, thanks so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening.